Hello everyone, welcome to Daily MuleSoft Meetup. Thank you for being here. I can see how excited you guys here since you are here at morning, or for some people it's evening. Welcome again to everyone. In today's session, we are gonna cover common error handler for handling exceptions across the layers. So stay tuned. Before we get started, let me introduce our today's organizers. It's Anurag Sharma, that is me, Ankit Lavanya, Priyank Gupta, and Abhay Agarwal. So we four are organizers of today's meetup. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anurag Sharma. I have total 9 years of IT experience and currently working as an integration technical lead. I am MuleSoft and Oracle certified developer and architect and a MuleSoft mentor and meetup group leader, running Delhi and Ahmedabad MuleSoft meetup groups. Also an active member on MuleSoft Helper Forum. In free time, I am mentoring some developers and learning with the talented developers and architects in the community. I'm owner of MuleSoft Station Group, so you can join us on Telegram and Instagram. And there we post some interesting facts about the MuleSoft and create some quiz, so you can take part in the quiz and you can gain knowledge by our Instagram posts. So this is all about me. Now I want to introduce today's speaker, Piyush Sharma. He is recently uh, selected as a MuleSoft ambassador. So welcome Piyush, welcome here, and thank you so much for being here today as a speaker. Now it's over to you.
Everyone. So my name is Piyush. I'm working in Millennium for as a senior integration developer. I have total 7 years of experience, primarily in Mule. Before I was working in Dipco, and now I'm fully fledged MuleSoft developer and architect. My roles and responsibilities day-to-day life includes like helping customer in designing, developing solutions, which involves Mule. As Anurag said, I just got the ambassador tag in this 2022 cohort. Before I was a MuleSoft mentor, and yeah, as I mentioned, I love to contribute to MuleSoft community, and this eventually helps me in learning as well. In free time, I love to travel and watch movies. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Here's that my LinkedIn URL. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and if you have any doubts related to this meetup or anything, you can feel free to reach out to me. Yeah, that's all about me. So I'll,
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you so
yeah,
much. I think you can share your screen and we can start the session. Yeah.
I am not able to get that screen sharing option enabled.
Uh, 1 second, I just stop. Then you can.
Okay, yeah,
Is it fine for you now?
yes. 1 second. Now let me just enable. You able to see screen?
Yes, we can see your screen now. So you can start the session and I'm going on mute.
Okay.
One moment, one moment. Sorry to interrupt. So, guys, if you have any questions during the session, so you can paste over the chat, and in whenever we will have like in the between the session, if we have some time, so we will clear your all the doubts between the session. Otherwise, at the end of the session, we will take all the queries related to our today's topic. Yeah. So stay tuned and enjoy today's session. Yes, Piyush, you can go.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Yeah, like Anurag said, if you have any doubts, you can paste. So how we'll start the session today? I'll go through the slides, and then the at the end we will follow up with the demo. In case you have any question or anything, you can connect and you can tell your doubts in the Q&A. So let's get started. So today's topic is common error handler for handling exception across the layers. So basically, we are talking about the exception handling framework. That it's a basic one. Now, of course, you can have your exception handling framework adopted as per your project. But I started this as a basic level so that we can propagate our errors from system to process to experience, because normally we are not able to see the errors across the layer. So how we can fix that issue, and how what are some challenges and what are some consideration that we have to look into while designing error handling framework. So before that, I just wanted to reiterate the API-led connectivity approach that we have, because it's important. We because we are designing the framework for all our APIs. So some of you may be aware, some you might not be aware. So we just brush up our API-led connectivity topic again. So it's a methodology that connect data application through reusable and purposeful API. So this two keywords are important: reusable and purposeful. These API are developed to play specific role, unlocking data from system, composing data into process, and delivering at experience. So if you see, they are talking about the three layers here: system, process, and experience. So here's the low level. Here's the diagram which I got from the MuleSoft website. You can check there as well when you see the API-led connectivity. So as you see, our data systems are at the down, SAS, mainframe, FTP, where we decentralize access to our core systems, and then we have process API where we look into the business orchestration, how we have to transform our data, and we'll look into that into the process API. And then we have experience API, which we design for a particular client to give them a unique experience. So that's how we design the experience API. So like why do we have this API-led connectivity, and how it is necessary? Like, why do we follow it? So in earlier phases, what happens is when we have many systems, and each systems talking to the another system with a single point-to-point connections that create a mess, and that is very hard to maintain as well. If one system crashes, the other will also be affected. So like you can see, it's not looking a proper way, and it's increased the manpower and that cost of maintenance as well. To overcome these issues, we have reached to API-led connectivity, and it reduced the IT delivery gap. So this diagram, you may be familiar with the training in Mule 4 training we had. Like, if we adopt the API-led connectivity, decrease the IT delivery gap, because the demands are never ending, requirements are not reducing, they keep coming, and as soon as the requirements keep increasing, it's become difficult to cope up with the requirements and deliver on the time with for the customer with the current capacity of developers and architects. So uh, as soon as the demands goes up, the delivery capacity also increase. So to handle this, we comes with the API-led connectivity approach. Basically, it has system, process, and experience API. System, as I told, where we get our actual data. Process, where we break down the data in silos, and experience, where we have the experience for the consumer or the client who wants to consume it. So I'll not go deep into this. You can you can find it on the MuleSoft documentation as well. So yeah, so error can be cumbersome. Whenever any error occurs, you may not be knowing why it happened, and it takes a lot of efforts to understand and to take the proper action when the errors description and error which you got are not clear. So to resolve this issue, we should come up with a proper error handling in our project. Whatever, even if it's Mule or Java or any project, error handling is the most important part of a code. So to reiterate my point, why do we need the good error handling? Because this is a high level, like what error handling refers to. So like it's a response and recovery procedure of error condition present in any applications. So it can be like application error, programming errors, communication error. So it's very high level error handling why we do it. And many application faces numerous design challenges also when considering error handling techniques. So as I said before, there is not one proper framework for error handling. It depends on your application and system, what kind of system you're connecting to, what is the business requirement from that application. So that we considering those points, we design error handling. There are four main categories: just logical errors, generated errors, compile time errors, runtime errors. So this is like the basic errors which we see. Um, as these errors can be very fatal. So we have to consider the crucial areas for application designer developers to design our error handling based on the programming language or the tools, like in our case like MuleSoft. In worst scenarios, error handling mechanism force the application to log the user off and shut down the system. Some of the fatal errors. Okay, so there's a difference between errors and exception also. So errors are like the fatal, like your system goes down and all. Exception like which occurs at the application level if your data is not correct. So we can divide it into like business and non-business, just for not getting it more complicated. Um, this is important slide. Why and what important points to consider while designing error handling. We all know testing is not enough. We don't know the behavior of application when it goes to production. We don't know the mindset of the consumers and the business and line of business people, how they'll consuming our APIs and what they expect. So testing is not just enough. We can have different exception at different point of time later after deployment as well. So that is the reason we should come up with a good error handling. Categorize your exception. So while designing, as I said, we can have code related or data related, business and non-business. Like if someone is if your client is sending the wrong data and it is not handled well, so that's not really your fault, but maybe a not looking good error response can give you a false impression that there's something wrong with our code related, like we miss something while developing, and like making field null safe. There's many things which we consider even in the data view as well. So these can be code related exceptions. So they're like we can categorize even to main two categories. Why we do that? Why we have the good error handling? Because of maintaining it because of easy maintenance and less lookups in the code when error occurs. So as soon as error comes and someone who is if someone unknown non-technical person consuming, and they see some errors like expecting string but got null, he might not be aware of what happens there, right? And and we also don't know sometimes where it happens. So when we have a good error handling, it will be less maintenance. Like we do not have to go every time into our code and look up for the errors if we have a proper error handling and proper error response. Traceability, which we should consider while developing our error handling, like we can have correlation id which will assign to a mule message. That's a unique id we have, and we can tell in which flow the error occurs. We can have json loggers which have trace points and message content which will clearly tell you this this at this point we have the error, like some trace. If you have not worked on json logger, you can just have a look on that. That's a different topic, but json logger helps in giving a very full deep details where the error occurs. So prediction of the error based on the transport use. So also while designing the error handling, we can see which kind of connectors we are using: http, gms, salesforce. So based on that, we can think what kind of errors can occur, and even MuleSoft provides some predefined errors and namespace and errors which we have. Proper error message, which is very important, like http status code, error description, error details, verbose messages. So all this should be there if any errors occur in a API-led connectivity, especially in REST APIs. So these things we should always have so that it will give you a clear idea. Another important point is security. Certain errors and loggers, while handling exception, can leave your underlying system vulnerable. So we may miss some point, but if some error occurs, it may be logging your whole payload. Okay, and even some crucial data which is not a client want. So we should think about that perspective as well. Also, we should make our application secure. If any attacker or any hacker attacks the API, so we should handle that as well. That if any exception occurs, they'll handle well without making our system vulnerable. Easy your error handling, like the errors which we get, easy to explain. It should be easy to explain to a layman manager when error occurs, and reduce manual efforts of looking and explaining the error. So you might be noticed in your projects, like someone is coming and asking, hey, I got this. So if your errors are, you cannot avoid exceptions and errors. It will come. But if you make them self explanatory, like the message, error message which is there, it's self-explanatory, it's very clear to the end user in a layman language. You do not have to explain in over the email or chat him or tell that this is the actual error happened. So considering that point also, you should design your error handling and the error message. Last but not the least, design, learn, adapt, and adopt. So as I said, there's no proper one standard error handling framework. You design it, you learn, you may find that okay, there's something else also I need to add, which it was not there. So adapt and then adopt. So based on the errors which you get, you try to improvise your error handling and the error handling framework as soon as your application grows, and so you have to change your error handling framework as well. So yeah, so you can have a look. After the meetup, like at the end of the session, we will have trivia quiz where we'll be asking you question, and that will from the slides and the demo. So um, be attentive in the session. You might win some good. Um, yeah, you might win the trivia quiz. So let's go into our today's use case. So use cases, I try to make it very simple, not to complicate you with many and database or sales and a different connector. I just want to keep it simple. So I have what I'm having a use case today is like we have an organization which get the employees data. We have to design a API which get the employee data, and employee details are stored in a database, and there's some enrichment at the process, and finally the experience layer. So we have basically three layers: system, process, experience. So why we have these three? So that I can able to show you how errors can be propagated from one layer to the another. So yeah, as challenges, some exception occur at the system layer, does not propagate to process and experience layer. And solution, we design a basic exception handling framework which will be used as a dependency in our projects and address the issue and challenges we discuss. So basically we will design a framework that will be used as a dependency into our projects. So okay. At end of the slides, let's go to the demo. Demo will take some time, so your patience are requested because I'll note I'll try to explain you the common things which we have. So I cannot just make a proper solution and give it to you. So I will create some error and then you will get into that. Meanwhile, if you have anybody have any question, you can please let me know.
Yeah, thank you, Piyush. You can start, guys. If you have any questions, please message in Q&A box. There you can ask any questions. And in the meantime, the Piyush start this demo, and whenever he will have the time, like the gap when the app will be getting deployed or getting built, in that me in that time he will answer all the questions. Otherwise, at the end of the session, definitely will answer all the questions.
Yes, definitely. Um, okay, so as you see on Project Explorer, I have System Process and Experience APIs. So this is a very simple APIs which I've created. Um, uh, Main thing which you should focus here is the error handling. I do not have any error handling as of now. This is console flow, we can ignore it. And then we have two endpoints, add nums. This one having query parameter. This has up two query parameters, num1 and num2. So if you see here, it's a plus symbol, and it adding two number. We will also, you can see it's a not good way to design this one, because my query parameter, I have not made handle them at the ramls. So what I have done, I just have them as a string, and it can be a number as a string. So when we try to add a number into string, it will give an error. So I done it on purpose just to show you the exception. And then we have another resource like employees, which just print message payload from system area. So this is just for the demo purpose. You can have your end system with the database or Salesforce. It can be out any errors, but just to show, just to keep it simple for understanding, I have just these two endpoints, and I'll generate a mule expression kind of error here. Also, I have one global exception handler which catches any. So I was telling you, like, a good exception handler should have correlation, error message should have a error, correlation ID, timestamp, status code, error details. So all these things should be there. So as you all know, global error handler will comes into picture when there is no exception handling at the flow level. So this will come here by default. So I already deployed this application in our Cloud Hub. Show you. So all these application are here. So system API, I showed you, it have one global exception handler, which have catches our exception. So let's hit this. When I hit this one, I get the error. And if you see error is like, just a correlation ID we get, timestamp we get, status code 500, internal server error, and this detail. I will not say this is also a very user friendly error, but for now let's keep this as a error detail. So why we getting this, we getting here because it catches all like error dot detail description. So the detail description is what we are getting here, and if you see, the error cannot cause number number to 5. So if you see here, num1 and num2, in one I have given 1 as a numeric value, and t is our string value. So that's why we cannot add a number to a string. That's why it's giving an error. If we just add 1 here, it will work. Like result is 2, so it added num1 and num2, 1 plus 1 2. But I if I give some string like mule, so it give me the error. So this is the error which we got from the system API. I'll just walk you through the process API as well. So what I have done, it's the same one. Both of these resources are here. Both resources are here, and we have a REST connector, which is REST connector is sending our query parameters down to the system API. So it's a system API REST connector. You see, employee system API. So we are passing number 1 and number 2 into our system API, and same here in this call as well. So when this call will happen, so it will send a request to the system API, and the error will receive here. But do you think this will be the same error? Let's find out. So instead of S, I'm making it P, and now see how the error comes. Is it getting propagated from system to process? No, it is not getting. Even these things will always be this, like internal server as 500, and detail is like HTTP get on resource. So it try to make this request on this, but that API failed. So that's how we are getting this error. So it's actually not get propagated. So why it's not get propagated? Because if it's a default behavior. So I have some important links which I'll show you from the MuleSoft documentation. If you search this HTTP exception not propagated to subsequent layers, that's the default behavior, and it's understood as well. Let me just show you what MuleSoft has to say on that. You see here also they are getting, so cause this is expected because you won't typically expose details of your backend exception to the experience API, and instead you are getting different description which is filled by default. So what they are saying, we have like system, we have system API. So experience API have different experience. Of course, the error which you have seen here earlier, the system, it's coming from the system API. So that is not expected at the experience API. So of course that will not be propagated. But in some scenarios, even if we have to navigate our exception to the experience layer, like if you are connecting to a database or a soap web service which have a different kind of exception related to data, or like ID not found, like employee ID not found. So you want to propagate it to the experience also, so that user can able to see what's the error are. So how do you propagate it? So that is also given here. One second. Solution, you can set the payload on exception handler to propagate the exception if needed using error.errorMessage.payload. So this is very important syntax, error.errorMessage.payload. You might have experience in some of the web service, you are not able to see the actual errors, but in the debug level, in the debugger, it will show you like there's no error or no error description. So if you use this one and try to debug it and when you evaluate this expression, it will actually give you the exception which was there in your last system call or process call, wherever the error occurs. So if you use this expression in your process call, it will give you the uh, errors which occurred in the system level. So we will make use of this and we'll design an error handling framework. So framework by mean, what I mean is like we will have a one code. This is the normal mule code where I have a global error handling, and I have this API kit error handling, and I have error handling flow. So there are three different kind of error handling. One is global, one is for API kit, which we have. So another one is the flow. So at the flow level, like if we get this kind of exception, these are the namespace and the type of exception. So for now, you can just ignore these. What I want to show you are these two, the custom error and any. So if any error occurs, I'll I'll show you. This is important. So I have a variable called system error, which check if error message.payload.errors have any errors or not. Okay, like I showed you in that um, error message.payload. Okay, so we get that in this one, error.errorMessage.payload dot errors. If you have if it's not empty, then we will map the exception which we receive from the system APIs. Otherwise, what we do, we have like default internal server error and error detail description. So so nothing, I have a one condition here while mapping, these all are fine. While mapping error and error detail, what I have, I'm just checking if any error occurred at the system level. How I'm checking it? Using this. So if it occurs, then I'm getting the value here, error. And if, and also for the detail, I'm getting the value as a detail, I'm mapping it here as well. If it's not, then I'm actually mapping the detail which I got here. So you'll get to know it while we execute it. So this was the main um, part of our exception handling. If we want to propagate our error handling at the process, if we want to propagate our error at the process and experience layer. So what we have to do it now, we have to understand one more topic, like how we can use a flow. We have to use a code or reusable flows. So I want to use this global error handler. This is a separate project into these one. Okay, I'm considering it as my framework project. Okay, so how you can do it? So I'll go to my this link. It reads how to add a call and an external float in MuleSoft. So I'll post you all these links in the chat, and it will clearly explain you what needs to be done to use this error handling, to use this as a dependency into another flow. So we have, this is important. Like in your POM of that project which you want to make dependency, you have to mention this. You have to add this piece of block configuration classifier as a Mule plugin. Also, they are telling the Mule plugin should be above 3.2.3 version to support it. Then they are telling the command. So these are like important command, and like ambient click package installed. So we use this command to install that project into our local Maven folder. Okay, and then in the project we can use this as a dependency. So which they have showed. So nothing, just no, nothing more much complicated. Have your project ready, free from errors, and then use this configuration as a Mune plugin. Then go to the project folder, run this command ambient clean package install, and then use that as a dependency into another project. I'll show you. I'll go to the step which I showed. Show in System Explorer. I went here. Command prompt. The command was ambient clean package install. So this will install this as a Mule plugin in your M2 folder, which is here. I'll show you. So this is got installed here, like error handling. It's a jar file, so which we use it as a dependency, and very simple. So also the classifier which I was talking about. So this was the classifier I was talking about. uh, uh, I have added, like, after extension, you will see this by default. So wherever you find the line extension, after that add this configuration, Mule plugin. So these two things you have to do, and after installing this, you have to go in your API and you have to add that as a dependency. So what I am doing now, I already depended, but added the dependency. I've commented it. So I comment out, and you see here the group ID, artifact ID, version, classifier. Okay, and I'll show you the POM of this also. So group ID, artifact ID, version, and the classifier which was there. So same thing, I've used it here. I added the dependency as a Mule plugin, and let's see if something got appear on our project explorer. You see here the blue mule icon, common error handling version 1.0.0. It got added. Now how do I access the exception handling, those frame, like the global error handler which was there in our common error handling framework. So we have, you saw, right? We have a global, we have error handling for API kit, we have error handling flow. So error handling flow, I want to access these here. So let's see if I'm able to access it. So, like I want to access API kit, but it's not giving me, it's still giving me the exception handling of this. So let's go to our article again. And this said that the shared mule config file are available to for use for application. The shared mule application needs to be imported as a separate unrelated project into config XML of your application. Basically, they are telling the file which you want to config file which you want to import, you have to mention that. So you have to import that using this like import and the name of the config XML. So one step we have done, like adding in the dependency here. Another one, we have to add a global configuration for importing it. So I have commented this one as, so like we have import common error.xml. So this common error.xml is nothing but our configuration XML from this project which we added as a dependency. That's it. And these two changes in this project. Now let's see, we'll be able to see the error handling of those or not. Now you can see we are able to see our error handling, error handlers which we were having in our common error handling project. So I select this one for API kit, and then this is the flow. So I will have a flow level error handling also here, flow level error handling. We can get rid of this, but I'll leave it for now. It will not be executed because we have the error handling at the global at the flow level. I'll just show you again. The API kit are these like, this is like we have, I'll not go into the deep, but this is like the namespace, identifier, and status and message. Basically, I have this in my properties. So these all the the long we when you generate an API, generate the flows, you see all these bad requests, method not allowed, not found. So all of these we have put into a into property file, and whenever when any error occurs, we just map it from the property files. And these you can find it from the MuleSoft documentation as well. And there's some other HTTP errors, and this list grows and grows. Okay, you can add the error. So I was when I was showing the slide, I was telling you about the transport. So one second. Mm, so prediction of exception based on the transport. So if you have JMS, Salesforce, so you can have those error namespace and the errors here. And for every component, we will able to see the type of possible exception they throw on the MuleSoft documentation website. So I have these errors. So the logic here is, if the status error dot namespace like HTTP, so error dot HTTP dot identifier. So like here, error dot namespace apacket dot bad request dot message. So this will be the message and this will be the status. It got mapped here. Okay. So I have it here. And one more thing also, when you design M units, it would be little easier for you when you deal with when you have the framework. You do not have to write many M units and all for all those different error handler which get generated. Flow level also, I'll go once again, just to make you familiarize how it was working. So it will go to, in our project, it will go to any, if any exception occurs. Again, I'll just maximize it. We have system errors. If it catches, like if there's any exception from the system. So in case of system layer, it will not go here. It will come directly here and give us the exception. But in case of process, it check is the system exception, and so it will pick the values from here. So this is done. I have added frame the references here. Let's save it. Also the process layer, the same thing has to be done. So I uncommented import, and then in the POM also the dependency got added. Now we have to deploy it. So I'll just right click. Let's deploy the system first. Right click and then deploy to Cloud Hub. This might take some time. Deploying, let me deploy it using by exporting it. So 1 second. Mm, so just to save the time, I'm exporting it and deploying directly on the Cloud Hub. I'll go to the location. So process API. Process API and then apply changes. So why we deploying these two again? Because we just added global error handler from the framework. Like we have added the error handling reference from our error handling framework, because earlier when we hitting the process API, we were not getting the actual exception which were there in the system layer. So to resolve this, we added a global handling. We had the global handling frameworks as a dependency, and we are deploying it now.
Maybe Piyush, you can answer some of the question answers.
Yeah, please. Yes. So
Uh, Piyush, there is questions. First question is, can we do any transformation
mhm.
implementation logic at Experience API?
Yes, we can do. So yeah, that's a good question. So some we should do like in that help article also for MuleSoft. Like we should not just give any exception which is coming from which is coming from your system API like that. We should make it more friendly, user friendly, because the consumer, the end system, which consuming our experience API, they should be able to understand what that exception is. So we can do some kind of error mapping, and based on the business, we can discuss with the business and the but how they want to handle that exception. There should be we sometimes we ignore this, but we should always take this into account from our client, how they want these exception to be handled. So we should do some transformation at the experience level as well, for making it, for not to complicate it and make it look nicer for them to easier understand.
Okay. And second question is, okay, my screen got used. Yeah. Second question is, In which scenarios we need to propagate the error to process layer, and in which scenarios we need to handle in the layer itself.
Okay, so again, like I given you one example, right? We are consuming some web service, and they have the client have their own kind of exception at their end. We don't know about them, and they want us to propagate, or they want us to know the exact error. Like one, it can be a data error. So what they are trying to do, they are sending the ID which does not exist. So they want to see the same exception, like the ID does not exist. So on in these cases, whenever we have some data error, so and client wants to know what the exception is, because it's coming from the end system, not from the mule application. So we have to propagate those errors at the experience. Maybe we can transform it, if they are not user friendly or they're not looking pretty, we can transform it in our mule, but we have to propagate them. So it depends on the scenario in on your project. Some exception which we can handle are, like I showed you, right? Bad request, or normal, if a database is down or Salesforce is down, connectivity, or those kind of exception we can handle at the system. We do not need to really pass on. But again, in some cases, it just show you internal server error, even if we do not propagate those exception, and it's a connectivity error. Okay, so it will not show you it's a correct timeout or anything. It will just show you internal server error. So then also we have to propagate those exceptions. So it depends, like how it should be based on the experience of a customer, of a consumer. So how they want to see those exception.
Thank you, Piyush. Next question is like how to trace any error from system to experience layer.
Yes, we'll see that it's correlation ID. So if you've seen this one, so that's how we are able to see trace an exception through across the layers.
Yeah,
So
actually,
that's an important point
we
of
need to,
exception handling.
yeah, we need to set this correlation ID whenever the first thing is we need to, whenever we are sending a request to any layer, if by through HTTP request, so then there is in connector itself there is an option to set correlation ID. You can make it true, so it will generate the random correlation ID, and same you means same you can pass in the response of error message, and you can track from experience to system layers all the messages through that correlation ID. So
Okay.
I think we'll take later if
Yeah.
it is deployed or not.
Yeah. So we you see in one of this error, could not find error my app custom. Okay.
Yeah.
Any idea how why we are getting this?
Can you go up? I think there is some duplicate configurations maybe.
No, I'll tell you. Let's go to our third point. The same error, which when you copy it, could not find error type for a given identifier. So the causes this happen because error handling expects the error type to be declared somewhere in the project. And solution also they have given. It's just a flow, declaring in a private flow. But they have just had this raise error component. So raise error, when you raise a custom error and you use a framework, you should define that. So I'll show you here. What it's trying to do, it's trying to find that error, but it's not able to find it anywhere. So what you have to do, I showed it so that you will, when you design it, you will get the same error. So that's why I wanted to show it to you. So this raise error, like we are raising a custom error in our system API, my app custom. Okay. And also we are handling this custom error here. this is about the custom error, not the different errors. Sometimes we have to raise our custom error using raise component. And also we are handling this here, right? My app custom. So what happens? We were not raising the custom error, but we were handling it. So let's say we yeah, it's fine. We are raising it here in system API, but in the process API we are not raising it, right? So it will cause the issue here. We, of course, it's a process layer experience. We don't want to raise it here because this is something we are handling at the system layer. We are doing at the system layer. But then process API also will complain that there is no raise error, and it's still looking for, because it all of these three layers are now using this common error handling framework as a dependency. But it's looking for this error, my app custom. In system API, it will find it because we are raising the error here. But in process API, we are not raising it. It will not find it. So what we will do is we will add another flow in our error handling framework here, raise error. Okay, like we have in our system API. So the same we will have here. And also we have to keep updating our framework. How many different custom error? Usually there is very less scenario where we have to raise a custom error. But if we raise a different error, like my app custom, my app note, something, it can be anything. So you have to add that into your error handling framework as well. Otherwise, it will fail. It will look for that error and it will not able to find it, and it will raise the, it will it will not get deployed. So what happened? Because like you can have this like error one flow where it have custom error type declaration, and then you have raise error, and see this is the same error which we handles here. So whether system, whether process, whether experience, wherever you declare this error, wherever you have a different raise error, you have to add that here as well, because this is used as a dependency in all projects. So when we add this will also get automatically added to process layer as well. So it will not complain that there is no raise error with this component, and also in experience layer. So let me deploy this. I'll save it. But first, like we have changed it, so we have to again update our framework and re-add it into our system. We have to reinstall the repackage, reinstall, and we have to add it in our project. So I'll go to this one again, do ambient clean package install. It got installed, and then in the process, yeah, I think it will pick it automatically, but just to be sure, I'll remove it and re-add it. Okay, and process layer. Okay, and let's redeploy these. Deploy to Cloud Hub. Okay, so what I'll do first here, 1 second. So you say deployment failed because it was not able to find any raise error component, and it was trying to handle that exception without even raising. So let's stop this application. Stop. Okay, and let's go to again. This is not good practice. Just for demo, I am showing you guys.
Guys, if you have any questions, I'm requesting again. You can ask in Q&A box. So many people are posting their questions in there. So you can read that also, and you can, analyze in your by yourself. And when Piyush will answer, you can correlate with that. And based on that also, you can, if you have any doubts, you can ask.
I'll just
I
post
hope
these
you are
links
enjoying the
as well.
session. Just be active. Thank you, Piyush.
Yeah. So yeah, Kamil, right. So this article will answer you why we having this issue. Yes, we have to raise it on in all the layers because uh, we are trying to find we are trying to hand in consider this. So what to make it more understand, this piece of block, considered this as in all your project. Okay, this is there in all your project. Like you are handling an exception with this type, my app colon custom, but you are raising it only in system, but you're not raising it in process API. So process API will complain, hey, you're trying to find this type of exception, but you're not raising it. Okay, so what you have in an experience also can do the same. So what you can do, you can again play with your this common error handling framework and add a simple flow. You don't have to do anything. A simple flow, it will never be used as well. A simple flow which raise this type of exception. So it will be raised in process, it will be raised in exception. So whenever, so they will not complain about this, that it will be, because they will not complain that I haven't seen this type of exception. So they will find this here. Okay, so that's why we have this one flow where we have this raise error component, just a raise error component. And if there any other any custom error, you can just define that as well. It can be anything. Okay, so not here. I mean, in that flow you can define. So you just have multiple raise error components that will work. The same is told in the article as well. Here, see mule expression, mule support error. So they are raising these errors here. It's just a simple flow with just raise error. So they'll never be executed, but they will tell your runtime that okay, we are raising this error as well. When this is especially important when we use it as a dependency. So let's see. Mm, Wait, I haven't deployed it. Is it?
దాంట్లో ముట్టుకోకు, నాది ముట్టుకోకు, వేరేది నడు.
Guys, please mute
గట్టిగా మెసేజ్
yourself.
పెట్టు, విల్ బి దేర్ అని చెప్పి పెడితే అసహ్యంగా ఉంటుంది.
It's Ravi. Please
చెప్పులు
mute.
పెడతా నేను అమృత.
How to mute himself. Piyush, in the meantime, there is a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a question like, do we need to it's an anonymous question. Okay. So do we need to transform the error message, or it should be as it is, that is coming from backend system?
We should, like this error. This is not a. Do you think it's a good error message? No, right? So we should always transform. That's how I was trying to explain here. Um, like when we raise a custom, when like I try to raise a custom error, okay, and I have my own error description here, my custom error system API. So you should always transform, and error message can be a very big kind of big string. You know, it can come in whole canvas, so that will not look nice. So you should always make your error handling a self-explanatory, like I told you in the exception. So error message should be look nicer, and you cannot do it alone. You'll always need the business people, how they want to see it, how they have, or you can just tell, okay, this kind of exception, this is the error message I've created. If it's look okay, I we can process. So you cannot just give the system exception like that. And it was mentioned, that's how the MuleSoft also preventing, you know, these exception by default to come to the process and experience, because they contain the system layer, and we have abstracted process and experience layer from system. So always transform those uh, error message, because they are not looking nice, and this will, a non-technical person will not understand this. If someone, if a non if he's not a MuleSoft developer, they'll not understand that's a data view thing or something. So always transform your message in a user friendly way.
And in addition of this, like if you, because if you will transform the error message in a readable format, so it will be easy for you that where the from where the exception is coming, it's from system layer, process layer, or the experience layer. And how to transform the message, that generally depends on business requirements also, like how they want, like what should be the structure of the error. So sometimes it's business requirement how they want, so you can transform it according to your requirement. So this is done. uh, the next question, would you like to answer, Piyush, or after the deployment?
Yeah. No, tell me.
Okay, so next question is how to track error codes, because sometime backend system gives only 200 or 500. That is not correct.
Mm-hmm.
So I think question was not clear. I think he or she is asking like how how we should, you know, showcase the error codes in our MuleSoft APIs. Because for example, Salesforce sent us 200 instead of proper error codes. Like sometimes when we use the Salesforce
Yeah.
connectors, we get 200 with the error. So is we should
Yes.
propagate with the same 200, or we should give the 500 or 400 one for not for according to our
Yeah.
error message.
Yeah, so I wanted to show you that only in my project. I have this this situation. Like I before this raise error, you know, I have web service, and that's a shitty web service. I mean, it will never, it will always give you 200, and even if you send an empty, also it will give you 200. So but the only thing which we saved me is like it have a error response. Like in the payload I get an error field. So what I done, I put a choice router and checked if there's an error, and if yes, I raise the error like here, and if no, then just continue with the normal flow. So in those cases, if the backend server is not giving the error, you have to you have to add some custom logic, choice route, raise error, and then raise your error, and yeah, transform it at either at the flow level or at the global level. How do you want to send it? But yes, even I have experienced it. Backend service sometimes get you in trouble.
Yes. Thank you, Piyush. Next question is what is meant by classifier mule plugin?
Okay, so classifier is when we use. Okay, I'll go to my link again. So classifier is nothing but it's a concept of Maven. So we use this classifier Mule plugin. Why? Because no, 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 this. Okay, I'll show you here. So when you see that when I try to add this dependency, right? So one second. Mm, Common error handling is here. Yeah. So you see here, this is added as a dependency as a Mule plugin. So there are many kind of classifier, Mule plugin, Exchange plugin. So when we want to add this project, this is a normal Mule project, but when we have to use it as a dependency, as a plugin, this is a plugin. Okay, this is a plugin into this project. So we have to use it here in this project. So we have to tell the Maven while we installing that, consider it as, do not consider it as a normal Mule project, consider it as a Mule plugin. So we have to tell Maven that it's a Mule plugin, so that when we try to install, when we package it, it get packaged as a Mule plugin, not as a normal Mule jar project. And when we import that also, we are importing here we importing, we have to tell here as well that this is a this it's classified as it's a Mule plugin, not any jar. This is a jar where we have our, like, from Exchange we downloaded, but this is a Mule plugin. So that's the use of a Mule plugin. When we have to use flows in our project, we have to maintain it as a Mule plugin classifier.
Uh, I think
Okay.
it's clear, Mohammed, to you. It was question from Mohammed Shakir.
So there's some. One
It's
second, guys. There's
taking
something.
some time.
No, it's getting deployed, but it failed again. Why? There was error on deploy.
It should.
Okay, so it's saying the configuration can appear only once. So somewhere I think I have duplicated the configuration.
Yeah.
Trouble.
No. To be.
Okay, for now I'll just API kit is there. Config. Okay, that there are two default configuration, right? So maybe that's why it's giving me. Like one is for this error global, which I wanted to show you. Just bear with me for some time. Let me just comment this one. And in the process API as well, first deploy this one. I have import common. Okay, in the flow error handling. Okay, let's try now.
There's some questions about the recording and also, guys. Yes, we will share this session recording, and also, like, after maybe until end of the day, we have all your email addresses, as it automatically come to the MuleSoft Meetup portal. So we will share everything there, and you will get a notification. You can download the recording, and you can use it whenever you are facing any issues and you want to make some references. Yeah. So answer is yes, definitely we will share the recording. And if
Also, I'll
you
share you this
Mm,
framework project as well.
yeah, so we'll share this demo project also. And if you don't get an like if you face any issues, so you can directly message me or the LinkedIn, or you can query through the Meetup portal also. So organizers of this MuleSoft meetup, they will contact you, or they will reply to you on your query. And somebody is messaging me directly that can we ask other questions like RAML and how to set errors in the RAML. So yes, you can. It's not a problem. So like it's like everybody is learning. If somebody don't know the answer, so we will give the sources how to get the answer, or we like so many experienced people are here, they can answer your queries. So don't hesitate, just ask if you have any questions.
Same issue again.
This is really a very very important topic in our daily development life cycle. So after this session, I will say you should also try a demo like it, like kind of POC, by creating three layers and deploy all these three layers and try by yourself too. Like raise different errors and try to transform the error message and track everything in the logs. It's not required that you need to deploy it on Cloud Hub. You can deploy in your local system also. You can deploy all three apps in your local, and you can see like how it's behaving. There is a question, when do we use on error continue, when do we use on error propagate? So Piyush, would you like to answer, or I should go ahead?
Yeah, yeah, you can go ahead. I'll just look into this one.
Okay, so on error continue and on error propagate is it's question from Gani Swati. So Swati, this question is like on error continue or on error propagate. So on error continue at itself, name itself is saying continue, right? So if any error occurs, right, so you will handle it. And if you want to propagate to that error to some, if to file, you can do it in or error continue a component. And then what will happen after handling that error, it will continue your flow. It will not it will not discontinue the flow. On error continue means on error continue means you want to continue the flow even after error exists, or if any error occurred. So in that scenario, you need to use on error continue. On error propagate means you don't want to continue the flow. Whenever any exceptions occurs, you just want to discontinue the flow, and you want to just give your error response. So in the name itself, continue and propagate defines everything. I hope you get the answer, or still you have something, so you can ask in Q&A box.
Yeah, yeah. So here is Gazanan. So just to clear more on these questions, might we will give us some more layman terminology so that we can understand. So let's suppose for the continue error continue, if you have a number of records to process, right, and you don't want to, let's suppose in between you got some data error, but you want, like, you have to process the rest of the records, right? You don't want to stop your flow in between, right? So in that case, more suitable error handling is on error continue, right? And you can tackle that error out data, and you can do your actions, like you can connect with your client or customer, or you can might be change the data and reprocess it, right? So this is the best suitable example where you want to use a error continue, right? And for error propagate, like if the system is itself down, so there is no sense to use a error continue, because you all keep having the errors, and you will might be lost the data as well, right? So whenever see the criticality is high, always use error propagate, okay, and you have to terminate your flow immediately. Okay? So that is, maybe it will help you more, whosoever asking this question.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to add, like on error continuous scope always returns a success response to the next level,
Yeah.
while on error propagate always propagates the error to the next level and returns an error response. So that is also a kind of small difference.
Okay. So our application got deployed, both of them. So
Nice.
what was the issue? Issue was I had a global error handler in my process API and system API, right? And a global configuration, and also here as well. I have global error handler. So there can be only one unique configuration. So you will also face these kind of issues. So always remember, always consider whatever you have in this application is same in your other application. So when you work with the framework, but you have to keep in this mind that related to the error handling, all those global error handler, flow level error handler, you should always consider this application to have it instead of having them separate. Otherwise it will cause you an error. Okay, so global can be one. So I have one. I have removed others. So let's hit our system API. So system API. Okay, and one more thing. In system API. So one error which I told you, it will generate error in the error number. Another one, I'm raising a custom error. Okay. Before set below, I just raised this one. So let's go with the our endpoint. So num1, num2, 1 plus 1, it will give you result 2. Now I type mule, it give me this. Okay. So earlier when I hit process API, it will give me Intel server error and could not connect to the endpoint. Now when I try to hit this, now after making our changes and added that flow level of error handling as a framework, when I hit this process level, it gives me the same error. So it got propagated from system to process. Why? I'll tell you here. So when we hit this, when any error occurs here, what happens? It will be handled at the flow. It will go here in error handling flow, this exception handling. So it will come down here, this one. Okay. Then it will look for these. Of course, this will not be, it will be a mule expression kind of error. So this will not be handled here, not here, not even here. It will come to any. When it comes to any, it it will check if there is any system exception already. Error message dot payload dot errors. In system layer, it will not be. So what will happen? Correlation ID will set, timestamp will set, status code will set, internal server error also will be set, and this detailed description will also be set in case of system layer. But when we hit the process layer, again when in the process layer, when it will make a request to this and then it goes to system layer, it will raise the error, it will route that error to, okay, it will come here as it's the propagate. So it will create a error message and propagate the error to system layer. So where we are calling to process layer, where we are calling the system layer. So it will come here. So this will also become red. Okay. And now this also having exception handling, error handling flow. Then again, the exception which we receive from system layer will go here in this flow, and then it will come here. It check if there is any system error already. Yes, there is, because it got propagated from system. Then it will map that error first, system.error, and then detail also instead of this. So this will be only comes into picture when it's a system API, and this will in process and experience layer. That's what's happening here. When we hit the process API, this error, this is coming from the system.error. It was Intel server error there as well, so it comes as Intel server error, and this detail was mapped from this one because it came from the system layer. Already there was this error, so it came just like that, and instead of it is now not going here. So that's how we are able to propagate uh, our exception from system layer to process layer using this. So yeah, that's how you can use this framework. This is very simple one. And one use case is this. Another one I wanted to show you, as someone asked also, like some web service do not give the error, so we raise the error. Like we can use a choice error and we raise, like, okay, this is just an example. Like your end system is generating some kind of error, so I am generating this my app custom my custom error from system API. So when I hit this employees in my system layer, employees, so it giving me 404 not found employees. Why it's giving 404? So someone asked if we can change the status code as well. Yes, we did. We now just did. So how it happened? It came here, razor. It goes to this flow again, and this is it's raising the type of exception is my app colon custom. So it will come here, my app colon custom. Okay, I am handling this exception here, and I am preparing my type of error message, okay, which I want to show. Like client want a different user friendly exception. So what I am done here, I have this correlation ID, status code, and everything detailed. Like I just went for I just changed one field just to show you, like error response which is received from the system API. Also, and also I have this one variable also 400. One second, it's not going here, I think. Mm. One second. Okay, this is the API kit router. My bad. I missed this. I have added this S extra. This is coming from our API kit. I don't want to go into this because it's you can check it. I'll share it with you. This API kit not found came here, and that's how the status code set here, like 400. Okay, not found. So 404 not 4. So I should give employee. Now this 500 error which I set and detail my custom error system API. So how it's happening, I've changed it here. Yeah, like error response which is received from system API. That is the error object which I created, user friendly or a client client friendly, which we can show at the experience layer. Error response which is received from the experience, and detail is my custom error from system API. So which is nothing but this description. So error dot description will be my custom error from system API. So that's how we can transform and raise error and transform error message. And now if I hit this using P, like the same thing, it's also got propagated to process layer. So same thing I'm getting here as well. So I hope this is clear, like how we can transform, how we can edit our error message, how we can propagate our exception, how we can add it as a dependency. So everything, so it's a one single point of change. You can change whatever you want to change here, and accordingly you can define your status code, you can define your error message, error details, everything is here. So yeah, I hope this is clear. Demo is over. I'm open for Q&A. Over to you, Anurag.
Yeah, thank you, Piyush. Thank you so much. So our question is, can we call experience layer from process layer if there is some business
Yes.
requirement, and how to handle error
Yeah.
in this case?
How to handle?
Error in this case.
Okay, we can call. Of course, we can call. We should call process layer from experience. I didn't do it because I wanted to save time. I have not added my framework dependency in experience layer, so I just showed you. There's nothing wrong. In the same thing will work there's nothing wrong with the template. So when you add this template as a dependency in your experience layer and start calling that experience layer, then also it will able to get the same response. And what was the second question, Anurag?
It was like how to handle error in this case. If we are calling process layer from experience layer.
We
So I
already
think
handle, right?
you answered, yeah.
Yeah.
So one moment. The next question is, uh, if we declare, I think this is also answered. Okay. And next is, in case of parallel for each loop, how can we retain the actual error instead of the composite routing error for each loop processing till the experience layer? So in case of a parallel
Composite
for each
errors
loop,
you can
yeah,
handle. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
You want, no, I was just saying like there's some components which give you the composite errors. Scale together is one of them, and so you can handle those exceptions. You have to write some data with script to handle those exception, and of course play. You can wrap those some components also. There's many way. Okay, you can handle an exception. So it really depends. So sometimes you have to wrap a certain component in try block and define at the component level as well. So it depends what you want to do in the parallel for each really. So you can design your exception handling accordingly.
I think Meenakshi, you get the answer. If you have any still question, you can post it. So, hello, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Piyush, next question is, when we consume SOAP service, so mostly
Mhm.
this happens, we get the error in body response itself. We can use
Yes.
transform message to identify using if
Mhm.
else and then act accordingly using choice router.
Yeah.
Is it a question or what? We didn't get it.
Right. No, I think you are trying to explain when. Yeah, he's right. Like this is something happen. This is most happen in web services. So yes, we can do that, and then we raise
Mm,
the custom errors.
yeah, like you can handle it in data view, and then based on that you can create your error responses, and on after that you can raise error, and you can like set HTTP status code based on error message or success message. Next question is not related to error. I think it's related to RAML. So it's we have defined payload body in get method in RAML, but not able to test it in design center mocking service. It's throwing an error. We know it's not usual practice not to define body in get method, but we have ID set of ITs that needs to pass to system layer in query params. But HTTP requester have one constraint that we can pass more than 2000 characters. So we decided to pass this as body in get method. Any suggestion on this? Hmm, I think it's already discussed below. I think we will take it later because some discussions are there. Uh, we don't have any other question at the moment. So Piyush, you can open the Q&A box and there is this question if you want to answer. But I think already some discussion between Kumar and Russell is done. So Kumar, still you have a question. So I think you are host, so you can speak up. Uh, I'm not sure. So maybe if someone else have any questions, so they can, they can ask. Otherwise, we'll move to our quiz session.
Hey, one question here.
Yeah.
So we have this error handler. So how do we reuse it? So where do we publish it, and how do we import in our project? Manually, yes. Piyush has
No, no,
shown.
yeah, Vikalp, I got your question. This is not manual. This is I just showed, and we and Anurag discussed this whether we should, show that part as well. because that will be a long topic for this meetup. Maybe we later we can have. So what you can do, you can have it in your CI/CD, whichever you use, and from there, you can use it as an artifact, or you can use a exchange also to publish this, and use it as a dependency. Also, you can set up some automatic process. Whenever you make some changes, it will
Uh,
automatically increment the version. Yeah. So those many things you can do. Like
I'm more
automatically.
interested in the exchange rather than CI/CD pipeline. So how do we publish a new plugin there? Because I tried it, it never worked for me.
I will connect Vikalp for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vikalp, there is a
Yeah.
lot of background noise, so we can't hear you properly.
Yeah, so adding to the Piyush point, it's really feasible. Vikalp, we did some POCs with the Nexus, we did POC with the Exchange. It's very suitable. Nexus is an external tool where we can store our binaries, and we can maintain the versioning also, and we can import it in our settings. There is a couple of steps we have to do. We have to setting some settings.xml there, and then we have to add some stuff in the common error handling com file, and then we have to add the dependency in the calling stuff. So there is a couple of steps, and yeah, I'm also planning to share you guys and be a speaker for one of the meetup groups to show how different binaries we can the common binaries we can store in different servers like Nexus, JFrog, or Exchange, and how we can implement in our applications. So, and that's way we have. But that is doable. That is
I get it.
achievable.
I get it. Like Nexus, I knew, but I was more inclined towards the
Yeah,
exchange because it is more discoverable.
yes.
So maybe I'll connect with Piyush offline.
Yes, yeah, it's doable. It's quick. As like I believe Piyush has already mentioned all the steps only. We need a org ID, and we need a classifier as a plugin, and we then we need at that below we have to put. There is one more setting. If you go to the settings.xml, you have to give the server, the exchange, and your username, password, and then you have to go the common error handling com file. We have to mention that repository with the same ID. So might be the ID is mismatching. That's why there's some challenges. But anyway, it's I will share you the document that I prepared. Okay, Vikram?
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Vikalp, for bringing this one.
Okay, so I think we don't have any other questions. Guys, most of the people have host capability, so they can unmute yourself and you can ask any question. Otherwise, we move to the quiz. Okay, Piyush, I share my screen. So let me know if you
Okay.
are able to see the screen. Yeah. So guys, we have a quiz now. There will be 5 questions. Okay. So each question one will have one answer. And who at the end of quiz session, whoever will be the fast give a answer, he will or she will be the winner. Okay, and we will those winners will get a MuleSoft training voucher, so they can attend any training session according to their experience, because MuleSoft have some limitations based. They provide you trainings based on your experience. Okay, so you cannot go for any training. There will be a limitations like based on your experience. Okay, so whenever you will attend the training, if your attendance in the training will be 100%, you will get a certification voucher also. So with two attempts, so you can do that certifications. But if somebody already have a voucher for training and he or she didn't use, then they will not be applicable for if they are winners, and if they will raise the training application again, they will not be applicable. So if you have already a training voucher, so I would say it's you can take the part in the quiz, but it will not helpful to you to get the training vouchers. Okay. So for the quiz, just go to this quiz.com and enter this game code, and we will start the we'll start the quiz. So just I'm putting it in our chat. Okay, and this code. Okay, so you guys can join this. This is the code. Sorry, I put it in the Q&A. So quickly join this and we will start the quiz. Okay. So yeah, people are joining. 9, 10, 11, Dheeraj, Bhaskar, Dinesh, Akmal, Suraj, Girdhar, Saumil, Prasad, Akshay, Swati. Nice. We have a lot of participants. So I will just wait for 30 seconds and then we'll start the quiz. Total 25 participants we have now. And at the moment we have 38 attendees. So I think I should start. Piyush, should I go ahead?
Yeah, all the best, guys.
All the best, guys. So let's go. So we have 3 winners. Like it was a team, but it will give us like 3 winners. Okay. We will share the training vouchers with them. Yeah. So just wait till end of the day. Till end of the day, we will be sharing what the session recording plus the demo code. Okay, and you will receive a notification email that from where you can download it. Okay, so our next, what is the next? So our next meetup is on 26th March. That is on any point monitoring. And if you guys didn't register, please do it as soon as possible. Okay, and it will be all about any API monitoring. Okay, so after this session, please don't forget to give the feedback, and you can tweet using hashtag MuleSoft meetups. Okay, and you will get a survey form. You can fill that form. Okay, you can request to become a feature attendee of Daily MuleSoft meetup group. So whenever there will be announcement of any meetup, you will get the email notifications. So you can register quickly for that. Okay, contact meetup organizers. It's not about the daily meetup. You can speak in any meetup group. Okay, you just need to go to the MuleSoft meetup portal, and in whatever meetup you means in whatever meetup you want to become a speaker, you can contact to their organizers through LinkedIn, or there is an option also in MuleSoft Meetup portal. Okay, so invite your network to join our meetupmulesoft.com. Like this is a website where you can register, means you can create your account and you can register for any meetup, the future meetups. Okay, and like this is my LinkedIn ID. If you have any questions or anything for today's meetup, you can contact me. Okay, you can message directly on the LinkedIn, or you can enjoy. uh, Last is our networking time. If anybody have any questions or if they want to discuss anything, they are open to post their message in the chat, or they can unmute themselves and they can they can take a part in any discussion. So it's like our complete networking time. So if anybody is there who want to share their journey about MuleSoft, if they are facing any challenges in their project and they resolved it, they can share their experience with our audience, and maybe they will be facing the same issues in their project, so they will get benefit. So guys, you can speak up and you can like be active. Anybody want to speak?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Gazanand here. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Piyush. First of all, you bring a very good point, because a lot of developers having same troubles when we interacting with the three-layer API connectivity, right? So all APIs have a different handling stuff, right? And they want like in which API we got what kind of errors, and it's very difficult to understand it, and sometimes it's landed into a complex stuff as well, right? So but today's demo, everything is clear, like most of the stuff we got to know, like how we can navigate our errors from system to process and then experience as well, right? So you give us a very brief idea about it, and obviously developers who's working in the MuleSoft, they will take an advantage. And I must say thank you so much, because this is some areas I saw a lot of error handling part, but they might some miss this point, and that is really critical as well, because sometimes we have to we have to know like which API what kind of issue it is and why it is that, right? So yeah, thank you so much once again, Piyush, for a wonderful session. And thank you so much, Anurag. You explain a lot of things in between and help our community as well. Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Zanan.
Thank you.
Anybody else who want to speak? From Shubham, how do we configure Salesforce credentials if we want to change in 1000 applications simultaneously? Else who is able to answer, so please give it. Otherwise, Shubham, you can unmute yourself and you can directly.
Someone replied domain project. Yeah, so I think
Okay.
these application are used in many projects.
Yeah,
So
but it
there are a
depends.
couple of ways you can do it. Either you read the credentials from common place and change there, and just it will work for every
But I
applications.
think domain projects have some
Because
limitations also, right, Vikal?
no, domain project are not supported on Cloud Hub. If you are talking about Cloud Hub,
Yeah.
you have to externalize those credentials and read it from there. So at one place you will read it, and you change it at one place, and that should not affect your applications, because they will always load the configurations from the actual
Shubham,
instance.
another project is like I've just told, right? As a dependency, you can define your configuration there and use these as dependency, and then it will
No,
just show
again,
you.
again, he has 1,000 application to read it. If even you use it as dependencies.
Yeah, but like you, something has to be done, right? If he has to like,
Yeah,
1,000.
here is the trick. What we're gonna do is we have one APIs where we have defined our properties, and then in the thought, because see the thing is it's all about the implementation. Okay, so if you are smartly implemented, like you create a one API, you put your property files in that and putting the common stuff like in domain project, right? We can create an API. We can call that particular API while configuring our configurations in each APIs. So instead of like if tomorrow you get some changes, you just deploy that particular API. Rest of the things will automatically work, right? But the headache is here is you need an extra week code. You are putting efforts to create an API, and that is no really useful. But for your the question is, there is a way you can create an API, put all the properties files there or the configuration, and then get their details from that particular API and then configure.
Yeah. Guys, I just want to know the email address for these people. Saleshna, Amber, Jain, Russell, and yeah, these three. The first three are the winners. Saleshna, Amber, and Russell. The Saleshna answered all 5 questions. Amber answered 4 correct. Russell answered 4 correct answers. So I need email address. Please ping me on LinkedIn or in this group chat. Okay, so I can provide the training vouchers to you guys. Okay. I just want to ask one more thing, Vikalp or Piyush. Like, were you guys able to hear the music when the quiz was going on? Because it's the first time we are using.
No.
Okay, so maybe it's only me. I
One
will.
more thing is we even don't see the question.
You
I
were
didn't participate. I
And
did
someone's
participate.
complain
no,
of
no,
being
no, no.
not getting participated.
Not getting part. I gave the time for 30 seconds to join. So, like when I started, that's why I started the quiz. So before that, whoever joined, they were able to see the answer. Means they were able to take part. And also, I have shown you the questions in the mid of the session. Okay, during the quiz. So I was scrolling down on the questions. If you see
Quite
that.
different than others cartoon times song, right? Like,
Yeah,
but
actually,
yeah,
here we don't need to we don't need to scroll down each and every question. You will get for each question, every participants get 20 seconds. They can
yeah.
answer in those 20 seconds, and then they can then the next question will be to them. So it's like that. This is a quick and very fast, and it show everything in detail. So that's why we used it. So if you are seeing this screen, for every participant, what answers they give, whatever wrong, every list is there. Okay, so that's why we do. So if you
You
see
are
there were
trying to
20.
exposing them.
No. It's not like that, but whoever take part, so it's like a scorecard for them. Okay, so guys, just share your email addresses. Okay.
Nice. It's
uh
a paid one, Anurag?
yeah, it's a paid one actually.
Okay.
So uh, I think we wrap up now. Okay. So Celestina is winning a lot in meetups. That's good. I think people are not that much active in the meetups, so I would like to request, just give just make some time on the weekends at just 1 hour 2 hours. If you can't attend all the meetups, at least because Saturday and Sunday, on both days we have meetups, so join at least one meetup, so it will grow your knowledge and you will learn something. If you don't want to speak up, that's fine. At least listen the questions and answers, so you will get something from that. Okay, so that is good for the community, and you will know more about the community, how we are doing, how it's how people get benefit from these meetups. Okay, so thank you guys, thank you for joining today, and thank you so much, Piyush, for wonderful session. uh, Maybe many more will come with you. Yeah, thank you so much. And guys, don't forget to provide the feedback on this meetup. You will get a feedback form. Please give the feedback about speaker, about meetup, about the host, about the organizers. Okay, So that will actually help us to plan our next sessions. Okay, how we can improve ourselves, how we can make more better sessions. Okay, what we can include, what we can't include. Okay, this will help us a lot. So take it serious, please give us the feedback. And thank you so much. We'll meet in our next session in Delhi Meetup group, that is on 26th March, 11 a.m. That is the same time. And it will be about anypoint monitoring, gaining insight into APIs MuleSoft. Okay, so let's end up this session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Bye bye. See you in the next session.
Gazanan, Anurag, Gazanan, and Vikalp have this
Yeah.
concern. So, do you have some time, Gazanan, now? Maybe we can stay back, or we can connect later.
Uh, Regarding the exchange one.
Yeah. Vikalp having that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let me see if I find it. It's difficult. I'm in my personal laptop.
Or we can connect on LinkedIn and then.
Yeah, perfect,
Ye-
perfect. We can connect it, and we'll probably have like our others audience also want to see that. So we'll
Yes,
set up one meetup. Then we'll explain them also. We'll add
perfect.
one Nexus
Yeah.
as well. The local how we can use it. Then from Exchange how we can use. So it's beneficial for everybody.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I have a workaround of that, but and which I have used in my couple of projects. But
Hmm.
this Mule plugin thing, this
Hmm.
never worked for me. So
Yeah.
just yeah,
Earlier,
let's connect whenever
I
you
was
get time.
bit struggle with that, but then I do some trick and test, then it will work. But it's straightforward.
Now I have totally avoided all these things. I just create a XML SDK connector and use it, publish it, and use it.
No worries.
So that is more.
Yeah, I will share you my
I think.
findings. I hope
Yeah.
it will be helpful for you. And then we'll arrange one session for our all the participants or the communities also, so that they will take.
Okay, guys. Have a nice day. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
team. Bye.
Thank you. Bye
Bye
bye.
guys. Have
Piyush.
a nice day.